Hello everyone, and I am just going to kind of go through how I used the nitrous oxide gas during my delivery of my son Dexter. He's 9 months old now, and we used nitrous oxide and that was all we used during his birth. I am a doula, and I also hired a doula. Doulas need doulas, everyone needs doulas. My doula is a great friend of ours. She has been an amazing mentor. She is a mom of 5. One of her daughters is in heaven, and so she kind of understands what we were going through, which was very important for us in choosing a doula. But also her friendship has meant the world to us since we lost our daughter Sophia, and we really wanted her to be able to be there for us and to be a part of our birth. It was just very important. Now, the nitrous oxide gas is new in the United States, but it's not new in other places. There are no really big risks. You have, of course, the risk of nausea. You have the risk of people falling. So there are certain things you have to do to ensure that you aren't going to be a hazard to yourself. I was able to, while using the nitrous oxide, use the birth ball, and I would have been allowed to walk around, except they had monitors called the Molinas, I believe. I will put the actual name over that because I can't quite remember and I'm going to have to do research. The one that they had to use uses sandpaper over your belly to exfoliate. It doesn't exfoliate, it burns. And then they use a gel that also burns on top of it. And then they put the monitors on so that you can be mobile. The issue that I had with it is it wouldn't pick up the baby's heartbeat consistently. So I had to go off of it, which meant that I was restricted to the area directly around my bed. So nitrous oxide gas kind of limits your movement anyway if you want it to be accessible. Essentially, they give you a tank and then they open it, and then they have a mask that's attached to it. And you are in charge of it. The nurse usually stays with you to watch you go through a couple cycles of it to see if you're handling it okay, and then they just let you go. There's a couple things that you want to keep in mind when using nitrous oxide gas. You don't want to use it all the time. You don't want it in your face. It will make you very nauseous and it will make you sleepy, and it's not going to do what it's supposed to do if you're doing it that way. What you want to do is when you start to feel a contraction coming on, you want to try to breathe through the first few seconds. And as the contraction goes up and almost hits the peak, you want to start to use the nitrous oxide gas. Once it hits the peak, you want to remove the nitrous oxide gas from your mouth and then breathe through the rest of it. If you continue to use the nitrous oxide gas through the peak and coming down off of it, you will get nauseous and you will probably end up throwing up. That is the time period when you need to not be using it. I don't know why that is, but for most of the women I've talked to, that's been the result. I will say though that I fell asleep twice with the nitrous oxide gas and a peanut ball in between my legs during the night for 4-hour periods. And I had the nitrous oxide gas in my face the whole time, and I had no ill side effects. But I'm not every single woman, and every single woman's going to have a different result. So for me, it really worked well to use the nitrous oxide during the beginning of the contraction. I can't talk today. And once it hits the peak, that's when I stopped using it. But for most women, if you can breathe through the beginning of it and then start using it and then take it off once you hit the peak, you're good. It was really good and it worked super well until I got to the actual transition point. Now for me, my transitions seemed to go very quickly. I was a 6 and then I was a 7.5 for probably about 15 minutes, and then I was pushing and he was out. So it just kind of depends on how your body responds. For me, my transitions go very quickly and they are like 4 or 5 really intense contractions and then baby is born. With my daughter, I was a 5 centimeter when I got to the hospital, and 15 minutes later she was born. So for me, my transition labor is very quick and very strong and turns into my pushing labor, and So the nitrous oxide didn't really do much, but it did help make it so that I wasn't as thoughtful about how hard the contractions were coming on. It made me a little more diligent into thinking about being calm, and I think that was mainly the big point. I think that helped me the most. I did ask for the epidural towards the end, and obviously I did not get one, and that was okay. It really was not as painful as you think or expect. The nitrous oxide really helped, and I really do recommend trying and using the nitrous oxide in your labor and delivery. I hope these tips were helpful, and I hope that kind of clears up how to use nitrous oxide. I definitely don't recommend it if you are walking around. You really do need to be in a location where you can lean on something or someone, or you can be sitting on the ball, or you can be sitting on the bed. There's different positions they can put you in that's really helpful, and it's just a great alternative to trying to go straight towards pain medications such as an epidural or the IV pain medications that can make you a little loopy, so that you can be completely centered when you're having your baby and not be distracted by what's going into your body. But that's pretty much it. Those are all the suggestions I really have for nitrous oxide gas, and this is kind of the same thing that I tell my clients, but you just kind of want to do what works for you. If it's fine for you to have it on all the time during your entire labor, then all the power to you. But if you do find that you're getting nauseous, it might be a good idea to try just using it during the very beginning stages and then stop when you get to the peak of your contraction and let yourself ebb it off. And that's pretty much all I have to say for nitrous oxide. Again, I hope this was helpful. Thumbs up the video if you liked it and if it was useful, and comment below if you have any suggestions for moms if you've used nitrous oxide gas. How did it work for you? Thanks. Bye.